So essentially what we're going to be covering here for you guys today is all the things with FUDO secure remote access, and why remote access is even a bigger risk nowadays, and how to mitigate that, then some limitations of VPNs and how to overcome that, and then how to secure remote access with no impact on your productivity, and how to introduce a safe multi-factor authentication in one single day. Okay, so let's carry on and get started. I'll give you a little quick overview of our situation where we're in. And of course, I need to not tell you, we live currently in very uncertain and very surreal times, which are challenging for everyone, and have really pushed, I think, business into every sector, onto every front, into a very unique situation, and finding that we're seeing really a whole surge and a need for more remote access, remote workers from every industry. So, and as some of you who are joining today are actually partners with us, you'll know how FUDO-PAM works and what it does. And for many, many years now, it's very much covered a very specific part, a very specific use case, which concerns privileged users, as you're well aware. So essentially, in discovering and going through this whole process of this certain situation with COVID-19, we've actually found a new way and a new use case for FUDO PAM, which has led to FUDO Secure Remote Access. And this is something that is helping companies at the moment. We've actually had already successful application of this, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. So essentially here, how enterprises to this day are protecting their privileged access at the moment. And generally, they'll do that in one of three ways, or maybe a combination of them. So that's generally your virtual private networks or your VPNs with multi-factor authentication, or with password vaults. And as you know, that with privileged access management, that is that extra layer, that unique layer they're going to include to make sure that all the data and secure access is safe. Okay. So into looking a little bit more as a recap, if we can now go on to the next slide where we see the whole deployment of how, on the next slide, not this one, the next one, on how FUDO actually is deployed. So as you might already know, FUDO is deployed as a man in the middle. As you can see there in the center there, that's FUDO, and then all the raw traffic and access gets authenticated through FUDO PAM. And much like, as I said before, the classic case is your privileged users. And with the security officer then being able to set up certain safe environments whereby employees and privileged users can access data in a secure way, and make sure that certain processes are not accessed. So you know how the classic architecture and deployment works. But again, we have this new use case now, and this is currently what the market needs, is what the world needs, and this is not any sort of gimmick. This is the reality, as you know. It doesn't matter now if you're sitting in the Ukraine, if you're sitting in the United States, in Germany, in Brazil, it doesn't matter, because right now companies are scrambling around the clock to try and find a way to switch a button to get all of their remote workers secure. And you've probably already seen the headlines in terms of the bumbles with Zoom, the security inadequacies. So basically, not every tool is made equal, and not every tool is the right thing. So technology, I would say right now, is not so much a silver bullet that is going to just fix every problem. I think technology is an enabler, and it has to go with the right kind of approach and the right kind of tool. So we're very confident that that's something that FUDO PAM with FUDO's remote access, secure remote access, can provide. So in a little bit more detail on how that actually looks like, I'm going to pass over on to my colleague. But just I'm going to leave you one little thought before I do that, because I was just reading a survey a couple of days ago from Gartner, obviously the leader in terms of a lot of IT security providers around the world, and they did a survey. And in the survey, 74% of finance leaders have demonstrated, they've surveyed over 600 people, that they intend to shift. They intend to shift for a permanent basis most of their staff, at least 5 to 10%, into remote work. So this is a survey from major financial players. These are top chief financial officers. So 74% of those will have some permanent, if not a large proportion of their workforce after this crisis, when this crisis subsides, pushed over into remote work on a permanent basis. Now that's just from finance, and that's just from Gartner. So I want to leave you with that thought just for a moment as I pass over to my colleague Przemek, who'll go into a little bit more about the details of how this all works. Przemek?
Yep. Hi guys, it's Przemek here from Fudo Security. Some of you may already know me from the support team. Now I moved to pre-sales team, which is more, related with most of my current tasks and projects. Thank you, Sasha, for making introduction to our system. I'm going to show you a live demo of let's back to this slide for a second. What is secure remote access for us? For us, it's just new use case for using Fudo. A use case where Fudo is focusing on the user and his ease of use and secure of connectivity of all the connections and then the target machines. Let's use our online demo. I'm sharing Firefox now, so I will stop sharing Firefox and I will share whole my screen with you guys. Screen. Should be able to see my screen now. All right. So, if you will use Fudo as a secure access gateway to your company infrastructure, you can integrate our system, our privileged access management system, with your infrastructures, which means your users can use credentials from Active Directory, from LDAP, using multi-factor authentication from your existing Radius servers, and so on. So I'm just an employee right now. I will be acting as an employee of a big IT company that is working from home. You can, you could use VPN with that, but also without VPN, you can provide the online web page. This is the user access gateway. So I will just log in here, my account. As I said, my credentials could be from Active Directory. They could be they can use one-time passwords and the Radius codes and so on and so on. So it can be combined with text messages on your phone with other technologies, right? So right now I have just simple login here.
And I think as you're showing this, Przemek, it's great to see, as you said, it's really easy to use, and I think that's a really key point here. Is that when we're not dealing with privileged users right now, and actually extending this into a larger environment for employees who are connecting from home, that they need to connect easily, right? And I think that's what you said. I mean, and how you're getting these login details to them, that's really important, right? So it's ease of use, it's ease of deployment, and it makes sense to use this, and it's not complicated, and that's really key. And that's been one of the use cases that we've also seen actually deployed very recently to a large major financial institution in Europe, where we've actually were able to get an entire workforce of over 2,000 users into using Fudo and secure their remote access. So it's all about the simplicity.
Exactly. The ability of making big scale scalability. Our system can be provided on dedicated physical appliance for your server room, but also it is also in our offer as a virtual machines for standard solutions like VMware solutions or Azure or so on, and other virtualization solutions. So it can handle as much users and target
Вот,
servers.
видимо, да.
Hello.
Hi, welcome, Evgeny. Hello. You might want to mute your microphone because we'll be able to hear what you say just while we're in the presentation.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. No worries.
Fine, fine. So this is the user portal, secure access gateway to your company. Me as an employee right now, these are my accounts on the target systems on this host. This host can be somewhere inside your company, right? With able to reach by supported protocol, especially RDP or SSH or also HTTP. We have developed recently a very let's say complex rendering engine for HTTP, so HTTP connection can also be rendered. But let's just show you how easy it is. I'm just going here. This is my account somewhere given by administrator, by my manager maybe. I will just connect. Here we have just 5 minutes one-time token. It's just one-time token. You can copy the content, but why to copy it? I will just click here and I will just connect using RDP client because I have Mac OS, and this client from Microsoft sometimes gives trouble for Mac OS, but it should work properly. Yeah. So uh, I I'm working over RDP connection on my Windows server somewhere in my company, right?
So you're in right now, Przemek, right? You
Yes.
have now access. You're doing the work that you need to do. That took, I think I counted, took about 3 clicks for you to get through there and get in. So that's how easy it would be for a standard employee and worker to get into the system.
Yeah, and
Nice.
that's the first thing, the ease of use for this employee. He just needs to know the Active Directory credential, the same credential that he uses every day in the office, right? Now, because of the coronavirus and all this mess, he's working from from his home, and he also needs to know the same credentials, same password, and he has ability to connect all these machines he have in a office, right? Let's say, okay, that's nice, but he's doing some stuff here. How me as his manager maybe or administrator, how I'm sure he's doing the right thing. So if we go into Fudo as a administrator or manager, with administrator uh, level, we will see the dashboard with many interesting data. But let's go to this session first, and I just want to see. Okay, this is me. It's still running. Okay, let's see this session, right? So this is the session. I want to show you that this is the real-time, you see, the real-time video. Actually, it's not video,
This is all the meta, the raw data, right? So this is not like any kind of screenshot. And that's also to just recall, this is all the metadata, totally unfiltered. It's not a screen grab or a screenshot, right? It's the pure data going through.
exactly. And our solution works on very low protocol level. So all the data, not only application data, all the data sent by protocol to this machine is captured, it is recorded, and then you can go to details, see even the clicks, here on the timeline. You can see clicks. Even you can show the text that is typed. You can also join the session actually. If your employee, he will call you and say, "Oh, boss, I'm suffer with something." You can just join the session here. You can go and say, I will do it for you, right? I will help you with that, and you can just join, and you see, I can actually solve his problem, probably wrong network configuration, I guess. But anyway, that's the ability to join, leave. We can terminate if we want.
Well, the join function is so critical now. I mean, if you take in point that financial institution I mentioned, like 2,000 people, I mean, they need to coordinate who's in charge, where, who's doing what, and then with this function now, that's going to change entirely how your staff work. I mean, if you imagine any kind of small verification task, I mean, it's not just IT, right? We're talking about finance and banking, talking about consultancy, healthcare, you name it. I mean, this applies now to every industry now more than ever. And with this join functions, collaboration, this is another extra level of how we're going to be working in the future. And remember that stat I gave you earlier, and that's just from finance. So this, in shape or form, now is the time for this to be deployed with clients that then will use this on an ongoing basis. And some of this will become permanent. We don't know what the future of work will look like, but certainly now is the time for this to be integrated across the board in every company across the world.
Exactly. Saying more words. Let's say I'm a administrator of this guy or his manager, and I'm helping him out. But I say I cannot do that. I don't know how to solve it. So we also have this ability to click on share and share this session, read only or without read only, which means that person we will share the link to this session with another person. Let's say, Sasha, you can help me with that. This guy has this problem. We can share the session and work together over it, like, I don't know, TeamViewer solutions or something like that. So these are extra functionalities for the customer, for the user and his team, right? What I want to show you right now is this kind of systems for hundreds or thousand users. What is most crucial, most important for the owner of this PAM system? The most important part is to have a system that will work by itself automatically, right? We cannot, if we have like, thousands of people working here, and here in the session list, you will have like this one number means one active session. If you will have here like 100, 1,000 sessions, you're not able to control them, right? So what is most important? Functionalities where your PAM system can analyze the input or even the output of this session right here and take some actions. Let's say on that example, let's say this user is working on some Windows server. I don't know, let's say this is a email exchange server, something like that, this machine. So I don't want this guy, because he's with administrative privileges. I don't want this guy, for example, to format disk, right? Using format. So let's type format, right? Whoa, what's happened? Would just terminate the session? Why
That's a precaution.
Yeah, I did it. I said this. We call it policies. So I set the policy to make Fudo break the session and inform me by email that this one guy tries to maybe format my disk. I know this example may be like a funny one, but there are a lot of scenarios we know from our customers that can help do, take this action automatically by the system.
Mm-hmm.
No need for administrator to watch all this session all of the time, right?
Well, I can imagine that's going to be even more prevalent and useful now, given that an entire company will be working remotely. You're going to have a lot of these kind of precautions in place to keep control, right? This is the whole point.
Exactly. There's a lot of these features like if we go to the save and we check the save, we can see more options for notifications, right? When the session is starting, we can turn on login reason. So every user starting RDP or SSH session needs to put login. It will be there in the session. So in the end of the day, we can use audit, right? All the recordings are encrypted and signed by cryptographic keys. So it means in the critical scenario where some hacker maybe will take over the account of some user, right? Because I don't know, he will kidnap him or something, right? We'll be able to go into the court and say this was happening and it is real and this is the evidence of a crime, right?
Yeah.
The last thing I want to show you, just very quickly, is that something we developed very recently. It's AI, artificial intelligence, actually based on machine learning, which means when we have users and these users, every user have some behavioral, like I don't know, let's say.
We're talking mouse clicks, right? You're talking like how they behave, yes?
Kind of behaves the footprints, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I was connected to the Windows server, I usually make very similar actions by mouse. If I'm using SSH connection, I do very similar text typing sometimes, depending on my job, my user role, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, here you can see the user of SSH. When you see the gray, it means there's not much data. That's because this is a test machine, right? But mostly in production, it will be green or yellow maybe with warning, or red when the machine learning will say, this guy is not the same guy. That's not
Mm-hmm.
the same guy. How this works, the green one was generated by one of our users who shared his data, and this session are generated by his data. So machine learning is saying, yeah, that's the same guy. But here, myself, I was connected here, and it say, it's not you. You're doing different stuff, right? So in the future, we're trying to expand it to some automation. Right now, our customers are testing it because not everyone wants artificial intelligence to make decisions, right? For for terminating sessions, for example, based on the results.
Tell me, Przemek, really briefly, how long does it generally take for like the machine learning algorithm to understand a typical user behavior? Like on average, how many sessions does it take someone to understand a user?
I don't really remember how much. I think it takes like if there will be 100 session, I guess. After that. But our machine learning algorithm is working on all data you collect, not only for this user, but other users. It's making it's making some kind of map of behaviors. And honestly, it's a lot of speaking. Last time we had a webinar on that. It took like 2 or 3 hours to explain just basics. So I can show you the short demo, for example. I'm going to this user, right? My user here from Active Directory.
Mm-hmm.
I'm using it just for demo purposes. So there's not much data recorded from that. But let me log out and let me go into this test user. Oh, yeah. Might be different password these days, but let me quickly change it because this is, yeah, he is blocked. He's blocked because our colleague was using this account and our system blocked him because he was suspicious. He's not that guy, right? But let me show you this one. So I'm on this machine learning test user. We will see the session here. So yeah, let's go to the same server. Next. Okay, so I'm using the same account, but as a different user, and the pattern for machine learning is for that particular user. Let's say I'm doing something here, right? And in the same time, we will see here what's happening here. This user, which is very good, I mean, it's very common for this system, right? He was like, if we see his data, like here, if we see what kind of what kind of a session he had in the past, we will see, yeah. So right now, Fudo is still, the machine learning is trying to match the pattern of the mouse, because in RDP, in graphic protocols, we match the behavior of mouse system. So let's say I will do something more. At the same time, we will see how how Fudo will recognize this user. Because yeah, oh, he's thinking, oh, this is wrong. He's not using mouse in the same way that the real user, I mean the real ML test, user was using.
So it actually flags it up and gives it a certain rating.
Exactly. And what so the point is, if anyone will try to use credentials of this privileged user from Active Directory, let's say, Fudo will inform you, because machine learning will check the pattern of for the graphical protocols is a pattern of the mouse, of the movement, and for the SSH is the pattern of the comments and how these comments are used in what combinations. This is semantical behavior. That's how we call it.
Great stuff. Good. Well, thanks for that. And again, at this point, obviously, we're coming towards the end here, but if you have any questions, please do feel free to ask. I mean, that's why we've chosen WebEx. Now we're all here in this dynamic environment, so please, if there are any questions, feel free to activate your microphone or text or chat here. So please, we're here for that very purpose. And if you can't think of anything, that's okay too. Perhaps you don't want to share it in this environment, so we're happy if you just want to send us an email. If you want to set up another session with us to get more into the nitty-gritty of perhaps the machine learning and AI, So obviously we're available for that. We want to help our partners as much as possible. But as I said, this kind of new use case here for using Fudo PAM, this is something very unique, and we've already seen that it's able to deploy. It works. We've just recently done that, as I mentioned earlier. So this is a time to really show your prospects and show wherever you are in the world that this is something that everyone can associate with right away. We've made it real simple because we've built that from years of experience in running Fudo PAM. So this is why it's such a great transition for us. So, I mean, also, if most people are using a lot of time right now, spending a lot of time thinking about remote work and what that means, and oh, is this for me? Well, right now, it's for everybody, right? And I just want to leave you on a few pointers here as well. I mean, this is something that will increase productivity. This is connected with cost reduction, increased morale. There's so many benefits to this. We've already seen a shift before this COVID-19 crisis that more and more people were employing some kind of remote systems. But right now, we're seeing another, massive demand for this.
Sasha, sorry for interrupting. Evgeny tries to read.
Oh, right. Okay. Sorry, I didn't see that. Go ahead. Yes, Evgeny, go ahead.
I think he's writing on chat, right, Evgeny? Because we cannot hear you.
We can't hear you, so you can ask us or write. Okay.
Yeah, you can write in the chat if.
That's fine too. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. So, in essence, I think we covered more or less the main pointers here. And this is something that, again, we're available if you have any more questions, or if you want another look at this individually, you have any other questions, we're here to help and support you. We're here to help and support the partners globally. So again, we're available for any kind of help that you need or questions to clear this up. But we've been working around the clock, our engineers to get this new way of using Fudo ready. So it's available, it's ready to go, and we're very happy that we can help in this crisis that the whole world now is dealing with. So this is just another way that, as we've helped make the world more secure, we're just going and staying true to our mission. So I don't know, Evgeny, if you want to still ask, now's your chance. If you'd like to email us as well, maybe ask a direct question to Przemek or myself or the team, go ahead. Okay. I don't know, maybe Przemek, you can unmute him, perhaps.
Yeah. Well,
the host.
Let me check. I didn't mute him, but Evgeny, can you say something like? I unmute you, but I guess that might be not the reason.
Well,
it's okay. He said it's okay. So I guess
all right.
Contact by email maybe.
Well, yeah.
We can
so again, I want to thank very much my colleague here, Przemek, for doing an outstanding presentation and showing us a little bit more on how everything now works much easier and with great spirit and professionalism. And thank you for everyone here for joining us today. We are going to be hosting other webinars in the future, but again, please do reach out to us if you have any questions. Happy to help, as I said. Thanks again, and I'm going to sign off with a true smile and I don't know if you can see me. Yes, so thank you again, everybody. Stay safe and be positive. Thanks for joining us today. Take care.
Yeah. Thank you, Sasha. Bye, guys.